So 2025 has been one of the best years of my life, but at the same time, one of the hardest years of my life. So for the majority of my life, I have experienced a lot of lack in multiple aspects of my life. I've been laughed at, I've been mocked at. Because why? Because I was overweight. I also have experienced a lot of lack in money. And for the majority of my life, I was also very lonely and had a hard time to create a good relationship with people or connection with people. And I thought that I was doomed. I thought that nothing is possible. And the reason why that is I don't know about you guys, but if you only experienced lack in multiple aspects of your life in the past and you never experienced something else, then you think like, okay, the future will be like the past, because why will it be different now if in the past it was always like this? And especially if you're going through a long time trying to search for a better life, trying to get the major breakthrough in your life, and you never got the major breakthrough, you think like, okay, this major breakthrough will never come. So I've experienced this year the major breakthrough. So that's why I said like it was one of my best, but at the same time, the hardest year of my life. And there are 7 signs that I've experienced right before the breakthrough. And if I would go back in time, like this is it. This is what I wanted to know. Like, what are the signs that I'm about to have a breakthrough? And right now, when I'm looking back, there were multiple times that this major breakthrough could come in the past. It could have come way sooner, but because I didn't know the signs and I didn't recognize the signs, I quit right before the major breakthrough. So let's make sure that this doesn't happen to you. So sign number 1, collapse before creation. So right before having a major breakthrough in my life, there will happen a collapse. So everything will fall apart. And I felt that I was with my back against the wall. And I remember this year when I was doing e-commerce, I've been in this phase with the collapse right before the creation. I've been multiple times in this phase with my life. And this is a huge blessing. Why? Because if you just recognize that right before the major breakthrough, right before a small breakthrough, there is a collapse that will happen. So if you look at nature, you have the dead soil, right? The moment this dead soil think like, okay, I'm done, I'm finished. Like, there is no way that I will survive. There is no way that I will flourish, right? And then out of the blue sky, God's clouds come from the sky, and his pure rain falls from the sky, like water falls from the sky, and it feeds the soil water. And that's the moment when all these beautiful life comes out of, right? And that's creation. And as an example, to give you an example, with e-commerce, I was burning a lot of money in ad spend. And when you have an ad and you spend money on it, the goal is to have return on ad spend, right? So what happens is I spend a lot of money on advertising, but not much came out of it. And this way I burned a lot of money, and this is happens to a lot of people in e-commerce. And then all of a sudden you're with your back against the wall. And at the same time, I'm getting, everything collapses. Like all of a sudden I'm getting holds from different banks. And I'm there with my back against the wall. And that's the moment when God's rain fell upon me. Like I thought like, okay, I'm finished, I'm done, right? But when you recognize the sign, most people, at the moment when everything collapses, people quit and they turn their back against God, but they don't believe in themselves anymore. They get demotivated and they quit right before the major breakthrough, right? So right now, every time when this happens, every time when a big breakthrough is coming, I just know that when the collapse happens, this is a good sign. This means that everything is falling in its place, and this also causes me to not stress or worry. And when you get through the other signs, like if you use them, if you use these signs together, like there's nothing that can stop you from hitting your major breakthrough. Sign number 2, you're a major risk taker. So for me, the reason why the big breakthrough or major breakthrough didn't came earlier is because I was afraid of taking risk. I was always living in fear, and I was always choosing the safe option. So this has literally colored my life, and this has given me a lot of regret. Please, the only thing I ask you is let that not be you. So right now, I'm a major risk taker, and you need to understand in life that if you're not willing to take a risk, there will be no reward. And this is what makes this life so fun and beautiful. And this is what, like, if there was no risk and everything was comfortable and everything will be easy, then life will be not fun. And it's like this, the same way like playing a game. The moment when people play a soccer game, as an example, if it's too easy, the game is not fun. Like you're winning and you're scoring goals left or right. That's why it's impossible that you're getting challenged by the game. And it's with every game. Like if the game is too easy, then it's not fun to play. But at the same time, when the game is too hard, then it's also not fun to play. So just realize that you need to change your relationship with risks. Risks are the most beautiful thing in life. And when you realize that there is nothing, really nothing to lose in this life, and that with every risk there is always a reward, you will always learn something. Even though you take a risk and you lose all the money, like the risk itself is the reward. And this is something that I realize, like right now, I'm not afraid to take risks. I just always have faith, and I believe in myself, and I believe in God, in the higher power, that everything will turn out well, like everything will be good. Just like it's your choice. You need to take the risk. So if we go to number 3, this has to do with number 2. You're aligned with your goals, right? You need to be aligned with your goals. So if I will be you, like what I've done is I've took a piece of paper and I wrote all these goals down. And this happened naturally. Like in order to achieve my goals, I need to be fully aligned with the goal, right? And this is why risk is important. Why? Because when you have a poker game, as an example, sometimes you're forced to go all in. You need to bluff, or you need to go all in because the other player challenges you. So this will eventually, like, it doesn't matter how long you play the game, but eventually this will happen, right? And the moment when you go all in, there is a huge risk in play, right? And this is why aligning with your goals is important, because most people, when they have a goal, they're with one foot in, right? But they're with one foot out. And what people don't realize is, and this is also something that I never realized this is why succeeding or having the big breakthrough is hard. The reason is because you need to be all in. You need to be fully in. And that's why you have people that reprogram their mind. And that's why mindset is important. Why? This will click. Like, just hold on, just listen. You have your conscious mind and your subconscious mind, right? So people consciously want all these things, but their subconscious mind is still with one foot out, if you understand what I'm saying. So they want to live in both worlds, but it's not possible. Your old reality needs to collapse. Your old life needs to die. You need to collapse in order for creation to happen. And that's why risk-taking is super important, right? And that's why you need to fully align with your goals. As an example, so right now I want to be in shape. A simple example. I need to be fully aligned with that goal. My conscious mind, my subconscious mind, my heart needs to be in one line in order to achieve that goal. So this means that I need to take risks. I need to get outside of the comfort zone. I need to get uncomfortable. I need to create the risk. Like, risk is super uncomfortable, but this is what makes life fun, right? So to not make this too long, as an example, like let's say I want to lose weight, I need to change my lifestyle. I need to change my habits. I need to do new things. I need to eat healthy and go to the gym and all this stuff. And I need to be fully in, all in. And that's the moment when you will hit the bullseye. And hitting the bullseye is something that's extremely rewarding and extremely fun. So it's worth it, right? What's the reason why people don't want to hit the bullseye? The biggest reason why people don't want to hit the bullseye is because they know subconsciously, deep down, they know that they need to fully align, right? So the problem is they already know that they need to fully align, right? But the reason why they don't do it is because they're afraid that they will miss. So they will miss everything. Like they will miss the reward, they will miss themselves, and they will lose everything. And that's why most people, they play it safe. But what these people don't realize is that there is one guarantee in life. If you play it safe in life and you stay inside of your comfort zone, you will have no reward. That's the full guarantee. There is no way that you will have a big breakthrough staying inside of your comfort zone. No way, any chance that will happen. So that's a guarantee. So that's why we have free will. It's your choice. If you choose to stay inside of your comfort zone, then that's totally fine. But if you choose to hit the bullseye, this can be extremely rewarding, fulfilling, and even though you miss, even that's rewarding and fulfilling. So I hope this inspired you to go all in. Number 4, you need to be open-minded. This is a huge sign because YouTube started as a dating website, right? So in the beginning, like I said, I've lived in the majority of my life in lack. So let's now talk about business, right? I've tried different business models, right? And every time, at that time, I've done cryptocurrency when Bitcoin was on 4K, 5K USD, I was doing crypto at that moment. And that was a booming time to do crypto, right? And I wanted back then, I had the money. Like I could buy 2 or 3 Bitcoins on the spot. But I wasn't willing to go all in. I wasn't willing to take the risk. That's why these signs are intertwined. Like if you apply all of them, it's like hitting the bullseye. Like I'm so convinced that if you apply all these 7 signs, like the hitting the major breakthrough is inevitable, God willing, of course. So I wasn't willing to go all in. I didn't invest my money in Bitcoin. So I missed the train of crypto. But then back then, at the same time, at Corona, I started a YouTube channel. And I also started a TikTok channel. And I remember that I was doing TikTok videos, so I started off with short form at the moment when Corona just started, at the lockdown period, right? And at that moment, I hit a viral video on TikTok. And people, when I came outside and I came to the grocery store and just in my local city, people were laughing at me. They were laughing at me, they were making fun of me, fun of my videos. And I just ignored it and I kept doing content. But I was starting to get afraid, the mindset changed, and I was questioning myself. I was starting to get insecure, like, is this something for me, right? So the moment when I did TikTok, all of a sudden I got comments from my local people, and they were literally making fun of me, making fun of my TikToks and all this stuff. What I've done, I got emotional and I deleted TikTok. Right after, during the Corona period, during the lockdown, a lot of people became extremely successful with TikTok. Because back then, TikTok was like, people were at home, lockdown, there was not much to do, people were all on their phones at home, and it was the best time to post TikTok. And at that time, I missed the social media train, basically. In 2016, I also did dropshipping. And at that moment, the same thing happened all over again, the same pattern. It was me not willing to go all in. And it was not about like a couple of years ago that I just started to go all in, getting outside of the comfort zone, and it feels like jumping into a portal, right? So if you jump from this dimension to a new dimension, in order to go to the new dimension, you need to jump in the portal, right? But if you're with your 1 foot in, but you're still with 1 foot in the old dimension because you're not willing to go fully all in, that's the moment when you will go through a lot of pain. And this is what happened to me. You will keep missing the train and there will be a lot of damage. So or you're in or you're out. This is very important. So you need to be open-minded. And just recently, in 2016, I did dropshipping and I failed. The reason why I failed was because I couldn't go through the discomfort. I was experiencing the collapse, and every time when I experienced the collapse, I shut down and I quit. But if you just keep going, that's the moment when the major breakthrough will happen, right? So recently, my brother, like 1.5 years ago, he came out of the blue sky, he said like, hey, let's do e-commerce, this, that. Long story short, right? And I needed to invest. Like he said, I know some guy, he has like crazy coaching. I need to invest like around 12K USD. or even like 30K back at the time. And at that moment, I need to invest in a course to do drop shipping. But I already did e-commerce in 2016. I failed hard. But I stayed open-minded. I was thinking like, okay, I tried so many things. I failed so hard. Maybe this is it. And that's the moment when I went all in. I invested 12K USD dollars into the coaching. I went all in. And in the beginning, it didn't work out, but eventually it worked out, right? Sign number 5, you love progress and growth over comfort. It goes hand in hand, right? You need to have your priorities straight. You need to understand that most people, they love certainty. They love pleasure. They love dopamine, right? Comfort. But it's at the cost of what? Progress and growth, right? So the thing that actually makes me feel fulfilled from the inside, the thing that actually makes me happy, fulfilled, like I'm doing something with my life, I'm having a purpose and all this thing, and you feel this joy of having a purpose, that's literally progress and growth. But nobody's willing to go through that journey because it's a very painful journey. It's uncomfortable. And the only way to learn new things, to grow, is with being with your back against the wall. But you don't necessarily need to put yourself, like you need to necessarily go yourself to the wall with your back, and you don't need to create suffering. That's not necessary. When you go through the progress, when you just value progress and growth, then you will have that kind of pain, right? As an example, beautiful example, a healthy lifestyle versus an unhealthy lifestyle, right? So the one with a healthy lifestyle, they have the pain of delayed gratification. So they want to grow. So what they do, they go every day to the gym. So in order to grow, they also need to nourish their body. So when they went to the gym and they worked hard on a daily basis, they come back home and they replenish, they nurture, like they eat protein and all this stuff, and they got progress, right? At the end of the day, they feel fulfilled. But also, if they keep doing this consistently in the long term, so it becomes a lifestyle, then all of a sudden, they get some nice muscles. They are in shape. And the moment when you look into the mirror, you see the progress that you have been doing, like the progress of the years of consistency, years of training, years of eating healthy, being in a healthy lifestyle. You start to see the progress, right? And you will have the pain of the discomfort on a daily basis to go to the gym. You will have the discomfort and the pain on a daily basis of not eating unhealthy stuff, right? But they get the reward of progress, and they get the reward of being in this beautiful body that they always dreamt of, right? So this is what you get when you choose that life. But if you choose an unhealthy life, on a daily basis, you get to eat cookies, you get to eat croissants, you get to get instant gratification on a daily basis, right? The downside of that is that you will not feel energetic, right? So you will not necessarily go to the gym because you're not aligned. You're not fully aligned. So you make your life harder by doing these things. And at the same time, it will also be hard to go to the gym because it's a cycle. It's a negative cycle. You eat unhealthy, you don't feel good, you don't feel like going to the gym, so you stay home. And now that you don't feel like going to the gym, you feel bad. There's no progress, you get comfort. And because there's no progress, there's a lot of pain because you don't get the reward of progress. And now, because of the pain, you indulge. You eat unhealthy foods again. That's a very negative cycle. And you will get the pleasure of the instant gratification, but you lose progress and growth. So it's up to you to choose. And this is what makes life difficult. Life is difficult because of freedom, because of free will, because you have the free will to choose both. You can choose an unhealthy lifestyle or a healthy lifestyle, but you can't have both. Number 6, you have unshakable faith. So again, it all goes hand in hand. In order to take a major risk, that's the only way to get the major reward, right? And the only way to take a major risk is that you have unshakable faith. So the moment when you have people that go to the gym as an example, and they keep looking at the scale and there's no result, they get demotivated and they give up, right? So the moment when someone does business and they keep trying and they keep putting effort and hard work in the inside of their business, but still nothing comes out, the result doesn't show, all these things are not happening, then all of a sudden you get demotivated and you quit. And yeah, it's always the same. It's the same process, right? So the only way to get through the river of change, the only way to get through this portal, jump into the portal, jump into the unknown, jump into uncertainty, is that you need to have unshakable faith, right? So most people, you have people that create this unshakable faith. Maybe another word for unshakable faith is unshakable confidence. People call this confidence. And people, their confidence or their faith rely on different things. You have people that they make their faith rely on the money in the bank. Oh, right now I have unshakable confidence. Why? Because I have enough money stored in the bank. And even though I lose money or I take the risk and I lose some stuff, I still have enough money on the bank. So their faith and their unshakable faith or confidence relies on their money in the bank. Then you have people that say, oh, I have unshakable discipline. Or, oh, I'm very smart. So I figured it out in the past. I'm smart enough to figure it out in the future. So my unshakable faith and confidence relies on my own mind, as an example. But these things, to be honest, didn't work for me. Every time when I relied anything outside God, that's the moment when things collapse in my life. I don't know about you, but for me, the only way to maintain this unshakable faith is God. That's the only way. It can't be anything else. As an example, like the moment when you're doing good in business and you're making money from left to right, you think like, I'm invincible. And the moment when you think that you're invincible, all of a sudden that's the moment when people collapse and they fall and they lose everything again. So that's why you have the other kind of people that are at the top and they stay at the top. They say like, hey, when you get at the top, you need to be humble, right? That's what these people say. In other words, you can't get invincible. So when you look at King Solomon, he's being a past prophet, and in different scriptures, like in different religions, like the Jews, Christianity, Islam, King Solomon was a prophet who had the entire world. And there is this phrase like, this too shall pass, like that everything is fleeting, everything is temporary, right? So if you're going through pain and discomfort, so if you go to duality, understand that duality is fleeting, understand that duality is short-lived, right? So whether you go through pain or joy, it's all temporary. It's all gonna pass, right? The moral of the story is that you can't rely on anything outside of God because God is eternal, if you understand what I'm saying. But this is everyone their own choice, right? The thing that worked best for me and worked for other people that are successful is some people rely on the universe, some people rely on the higher power, but it doesn't matter how you really name it. Some people rely on God, on Allah, on Hashim, or you have different names for it, but I think it comes down to all the same essence and the same truth. Number 7, this is a huge sign. This is the biggest sign of them all. You're not attached to the outcome, the law of detachment. So it's the same thing with the rain, right? The external results are all up to God, or all up to the sky, the rain, right? The internal is up to me. So, as an example, let's say someone wants to succeed in social media. It's a great business model, right? You need to put out a lot of content. I know people that they put out so much content, right? But still there's no result. I know people that go to the gym 7 days in a week, but still don't get results because they self-sabotage in weird ways. Their health isn't on point. Like there is always some kind of reason, right? Why there is no result. But what it comes down to is that it's about you. The journey is the reward. That's what it comes down to. So climbing the Mount Everest, the purpose of climbing the Mount Everest is not to reach the top. It's not to reach the top so you're at the top and right now like, hey, I'm on top of the world. I'm on top of the mountain and I've made it. That's not the goal of reaching Mount Everest. The destination is not the goal. It's the journey. So the journey never ends. Life will always have duality. You will always go through pain. You will always these signs are something that you need to take away with you, till the rest of your life. It's a lifestyle. So climbing Mount Everest is never about getting there. It's about the lifestyle itself. It's about the journey. So what I'm trying to say is that you need to find joy in going through the steps, going through the motions, going through the movie, instead of only wanting the result. The result is up to God. You are the one who just takes the journey. If the results comes, that's great, let's feast. If it doesn't come, that's great, let's feast. It's the same way. And this is how people that already made it live. People that already have millions on the bank. They don't even know how much money there is on the bank. People that already have millions or billions, they just live their life the same way. It doesn't matter. Like, people say that when you exceed certain amount of money on a monthly basis, then there is not much that will change in terms of lifestyle. So for them, it's more about the love, the passion of doing the business. They just enjoy doing the craft. The craft itself is the reward. And this is where most people miss life. Like, when you make everything about results, then you're just being a donkey with a carrot on the stick, endlessly chasing some carrot. And even though you take away the carrot on the stick, the moment when you arrive at the mountain with endless carrots, the moment when you ate the carrot, what now? What's next? You will eat more carrots, or you're there, you're at the top, what now? Okay, let's say you're at the top of Mount Everest, what now? Oh, let's enjoy now. What's there to enjoy? The joy was climbing the mountain itself. That was the joy, if you understand what I'm saying. So yeah, if you apply these 7 signs, I'm guaranteeing you, like, God willing, your life will change. And if you like this, like, subscribe, leave a comment, and let me know what you think about this.